The Pacific Crest Trail, or for short PCT, if you've heard it, which is officially designated the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail, is over 2,653 miles long and is aligned with the highest portions of the Cascade and Sierra Nevada mountain ranges.
And I'll just say, for those that have been listening to our show for a long time, you may hear a little bit of, information about the trail from our old episode, but there's a lot of new stuff in here. I know someone yelled at us once. They said we just reuse old content, which we don't. But
well, we kind of do, but keep in mind, people are just discovering the show, and they might not listen to the old episodes.
Well, and there's only so many ways you can say the PCT is over 2,600 miles long.
We're going to keep doing it because that's what we do. That's how we do the show.
There's a lot of new stuff in the location profile, though.
Yep. Those people can start their own show where they talk about new information about the PCT. Until then, we might have some repeats.
All right, sorry for the interruption.
No, that's fine. The town where David went missing near Idyllwild, California, so that's just to give a general idea of anyone who's familiar with the PCT or lives in Southern California. That's the area he went missing around. So the trail is generally 100 to 150 miles east of the Pacific Ocean and starts just south of Campo, California, near the U.S.-Mexico border, and terminates on the Canadian-U.S. border on the edge of Manning Park in British Columbia. Famous sections of the trail include the John Muir Trail, the Sonora Pass, Sky Lakes Wilderness, Donner Pass, and Badger Flat to Little Willow Lake. The PCT passes through 7 national parks, including Mount Rainier National Park, Yosemite National Park, and Crater Lake National Park. We've done episodes on all of those places.
We have. Joe actually was on national TV talking about Crater.
That is true.
Yes.
It was on The Unexplained with William Shatner.
Our old friend, the Shatner.
Yes. The PCT was conceived by Clinton Churchill Clark in 1932. It was designated a National Scenic Trail in 1968 and was officially completed in 1993. The PCT is also part of the 6,875-mile Great Western Loop. Visitors per year. In 2019, over 7,888 permits were issued, 4,748 northbound thru hikes. Now, a thru hike is when you're going to do the entire thing in one trip.
Yep.
693 southbound thru hikes, 2,437 section hikes. That's where you are just doing little pieces at a time. So people will travel the entire length of the PCT, but over many years. So they'll come and maybe do 10% of it one year. The next year, come back and do the other 10%.
Well, and they also have, I don't remember the exact names, but they break it up into 5 sections. So you've got like your Southern California section, the Sierra Nevada section, and so on.
Ooh, we should not figure that out. And then the next time we do a PCT episode, we'll talk about the 5 sections.
Okay.
So we'll repeat some information and always add more new stuff to keep angry people still angry, but a little less.
Okay.
As of 2022, a total of 8,539 people have completed the trail, and 105 have done it more than once. This data is not 100% accurate per the PCTA.org, but represents their best guess.
Yeah, so they don't super closely track, who's on the trail, who's completed it, but
they're relying on the logs.
Yeah, they have a pretty good guess of how many people have completed it, how many have done it multiple times. So
yeah. Things you should know before you hike the PCT. And obviously there's more than just these. This isn't the full list.
Over 100.
Yeah.
These are ones that kind of just struck my fancy.
Yes. If you come to a cache or hashtag trail magic, be courteous to those behind you and don't take everything. So these are little buckets or things that have little trinkets or stuff you might need for the trail. Don't loot the whole thing.
Don't be a pig.
Yeah, don't loot the whole cache. Maybe even leave something if you don't need it. Make sure you know if/when there are fire restrictions. Those tickets are no joke, and neither are the fires, especially in California.
Yeah.
If you see pink or red snow, it's because there's algae growing, and don't eat it because the algae is a laxative.
And from all of my time hiking, a laxative is not a good thing when you're out in the wild.
And I I mean, people will be people, but I don't know if I ever saw algae and was like, maybe I'll try some.
Here's this strange pink snow. Let me eat some of it.
I know, right?
Yeah, no, maybe not.
You cannot legally enter the U.S. from Canada via the trail. I would have guessed that. But actually, we had that trouble with people in Montana, remember?
Glacier.
Yes.
Yeah,
they didn't think you could.
Completely change our trip.
Water caches. They are for drinking only. No bathing or washing your stuff.
Yeah.
People will be mad. DEET will destroy your sunglasses and synthetic fabrics if you are not careful. This is a big one, just not even for the PCT, for any type of camping. Mm-hmm. It will melt your plastic.
Yeah.
Use DEET free if you're going to use insect spray at all. It can put holes in your tent and just destroy everything.
Yeah.
Verizon has the best cell coverage on the trail, including the top of Mount Whitney. Let's see. Many of the towns in Northern California are in the valleys that you need to descend into and climb out of.
So
good stopping points.
That's a good recommendation. If you see you don't want to stop at every town because you're going to be spending a lot of extra energy then getting out of the valley.
Oh, like you could avoid the entire valley if you skip past the town?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to stop at these towns. You could keep going. Yeah. But a lot of hikers stop, periodically to rest overnight or whatever, restock.
All right. The PCT midpoint is in Northern California, just south of Chester. Treat water caches as if they don't exist because there's always a chance there will be none when you arrive. And we know that very well.
Yes.
The soonest you can lose your bear canister after the Sierra is Bridgeport for northbounders and Lone Pine for southbounders. In Northern California, assume everything is poison oak. Oh, man. Can you imagine getting that far, like probably several months into the trip, and then just getting poison oak all over you for like your last leg?
It would be awful.
Yeah. Southern Oregon is one of the least liked sections on the trail. It's just plain and boring.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've read, I haven't done most of the trail. Obviously, I've hit the trail at spots in parks, but the Sierra Nevada range is supposed to be the most amazing part of the PCT.
Sure. I could see that.
Yeah.
All right. So some of the climate. Obviously, this is going to range depending on where you are along the trail because you're going through almost every type of climate you can imagine. Mm-hmm. It ranges from desert heat to high alpine hiking, requiring crampons and microspikes in certain spots. So you're going from desert to mountains. You know, not fast,
no,
but over the course of time. Yeah. From April to September, temps range from the low 32s to high of 86. Desert temps can easily pass 100 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and drop down to 50 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Mid-April to early May is widely considered the best time to begin the sweet spot when you have the best chance of hitting mountains that aren't too snowy and deserts that aren't too hot. Expect to encounter almost every weather condition from rain, snow, drought, high winds, and even fires on your PCT trek. The terrain. The PCT ranges in elevation but tops out at 13,153 feet at the Forester Pass in the Sierra Nevada range. That's probably why it's the most beautiful. You can see everything from up there.
Yeah.
The types of animals. Traverses the habitat of 50 species of amphibians, 315 species of birds, 175 species of mammals, and 75 species of reptiles. So we are marmots, squirrels, chipmunks, rats, mice, 8 species of venomous snake. That is the western diamondback, sidewinder, speckled rattlesnake, red diamond rattlesnake, southern Pacific rattlesnake, the Great Basin rattlesnake, the Mojave rattlesnake, black bears, mountain lions, and the worst and scariest of all, cows. People underestimate cows. They're always just staring, plotting. They'll get you.
We're familiar with cows around where we live, coming from Wisconsin, so lots of dairy farms.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Grizzly bears. Talking about bears.
Bears.
Brown bears. Yes, there are still technically grizzly bears, also known as brown bears, on the PCT. Your chances of coming across one are slim to none. It is estimated that around 1,500 grizzlies can still be found in the lower 48 states. And when you apply that to the Pacific Crest Trail, the number drops to approximately 10 to 20 bears.
Yes, so you can come across them, but very rare.
Very rare. Bugs, you're going to deal with mosquitoes. Scorpions, the sting won't kill you, but it is very painful. I actually know this because I was stung by a scorpion in the arm, and it is not fun.
No.
Ticks are a big issue. They can carry Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and then there are bees.
Anyone who wants to see what a scorpion bite looks like, I can't remember the guy's name on YouTube, but just go to YouTube and type in man bit by scorpion, and there's a guy on YouTube that just goes around getting bit by the worst things on the planet and then films it.
Oh, like that's his job?
Yeah, that's
but
his
like
YouTube
he's
channel.
not getting paid for it unless
I'm sure
with reviews.
He's probably making millions on YouTube from it, but I've watched his channel. He's been bit by like the worst spiders, scorpions, snakes.
He's gonna die of like heart problems at like, how old is he? How old is this person?
He's young. He's
got to be young. That's the dumbest
us.
thing ever.
Yeah, but yeah, you check the channel out. If I remember the name, I'll put it in the show notes, but it's a guy's crazy.
Yep.
And he's been stung by scorpions.
Yeah. That's so wild.
Yeah.
He's like the antithesis of Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
He just goes out of his way to
he's
be
like
bitten and stung.
Backcountry jackass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense now.
Yeah.
All right. Terrain, as we said, desert, high alpine mountains are similar to the Ozarks or the Great Smoky Mountains.
Except in the Sierra Nevadas.
Except there, it's more. What would that be? More like the Rockies?
Yeah.
Just more aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay. Exposure risk is high on the PCT, especially in the southern end when hiking through the desert and in the alpine section in the Sierra Nevadas. So you have dehydration in the desert section. We talk about this. Staying hydrated is very, very crucial to your survival and having as good of a time as you can while hiking through the desert.
Yes.
And hikers can go as far as 25 miles without encountering a water source. So ration
desert,
your water.
Yeah. So
you can only absorb, what was it, like a couple ounces every half hour? Or what?
I can't remember the number, but
yeah, you said the stat, and it wasn't a ton. So you don't need to chug your water, ration your water when you're in the desert.
Yeah, just try to drink a couple ounces every 30 minutes, or
yeah.
You can find that information on the National Park Service. That's where I found it.
Yeah, if you don't know at least that fact, you are not ready to hike the PCT. All right. On average, it takes most hikers around 5 months to complete the trail, but some elite athletes have completed it in as little as 2 months. Those who can achieve PCT completion in 3 or less months average over 30 miles a day. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We've done that, but then I'm spent. I can't do that every day continuously.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I've learned in researching the PCT is that a lot of people who've never done it before overpack, and as they're doing it, they see people passing them. Or they'll get to a spot and it took them 5 days to get there and someone just showed up after 2 days. So, and they kind of learn along the way, like, okay, you don't need all this stuff, travel light, you have supply stops along the way. So that's
like that lady that wrote that book that Reese Witherspoon played in the movie.
Oh yeah. It's in
your
notes here.
They called her the Green Monster or whatever. All right, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
All right. Know how to navigate.
So these are safety tips on staying safe in the PCT.
Yeah, you got to know how to navigate. The PCT is not a blazed trail and may remain under snow much of the year. Users should be proficient in backcountry navigation and travel with the appropriate topographical maps as well as a compass. So that's, whenever you're in a national park and there's easily groomed trails, it's because they'll groom those for visitors. If you go backcountry, you'll have trails that are groomed because people walk on them. Their section is that the only people walking on them are through hikers.
I would say that if anyone is planning to do backcountry hiking and doesn't already know how to do this, go buy a cheap compass and go to like a local park near where you live and learn how to use a compass. Because even if you have a GPS, the batteries could die. You could drop it in water.
Oh, yeah. I always have a compass.
A compass, it will never
Good compasses are like $40.
Yeah.
Like a really good one.
And they'll never go bad. I mean, unless you break it, and you will, if you have a map,
unless you
like break it
they're hard to break though.
Yeah. If you have a map and a compass, you can more than likely figure your way out of whatever, situation you got into.
Yeah. But compasses now come with those little flip cards. They even tell you how to use it and how to navigate. So.
But you just go out in a park near your house and kind of get comfortable using a compass. I think anyone who goes backcountry hiking should at a minimum know how to use a compass.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And you can buy the National Geographic maps. We always get those.
Yeah,
they're like waterproof. You can write on them with like markers that you can wipe away if you want to.
Yep.
But just plan your trip. Know the area, the weather, the terrain, your limitations, a little common sense. I know common sense isn't always so common, but it can ensure you have a safe and enjoyable trip.
Yes.
Leave a copy of your itinerary with a responsible person.
Yep.
Travel with a companion where at all possible.
I know on the PCT, a lot of people go solo.
Yeah. You can't get many people probably in your friend group that want to hike.
Do 5 months of hiking.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Or could even like take a 5-month vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you can, it's always better to travel with a companion.
Yep, absolutely. Be aware of your natural hazards in the environment. Be cautious and alert for falling snags, which are like dead trees, along the trail and campsites and picnic areas. Avoid camping in areas with large numbers of dead trees.
Always, whenever I'm out in the backcountry and we're setting up camp, I'm always looking around. Like, I will not put my tent up under like a tree if it has... If I can get a spot that's not under a tree, I'll do that.
I know, and people I think purposely do because they feel like it's protection. Like, no, a tree will fall on you and kill you.
Yeah,
it's rare.
It sounds rare, but it does happen. People have been killed in their tents when a branch has fallen off a tree. So I always look out and try to camp in a site that has no trees over.
Or they're like leaning away. You go on the I don't know, is it the leeward side or wayward
or
side?
Like if they're like pine type trees, you're probably okay. We're talking more like old growth, like oak and trees like
Pines
that.
can bend like crazy and not break. All right. Avoid bare ridge tops, exposed places, lone trees, streams, and rocks during lightning storms. Find shelter in densely forested areas at lower elevations. Even in the summer, exposure to wind and rain can result in hypothermia. Think before you drink. This one's really important.
Yes.
No matter how clean or pure the stream water looks, it's likely to contain waterborne parasites and microorganisms that can cause discomfort and sometimes serious illness. You do not want giardia.
No.
Pack your water in, filter it, or purify it with chemical treatment. Yeah, people sometimes think, oh, it's just diarrhea. If you're doing that, you're losing way more water than you'd normally lose, and you can become dehydrated.
Very quickly.
Dehydrated. I said dehydrated.
Yeah. Especially if you're in the desert sections of the PCT, you do not want to have diarrhea.
So if you listen to the first episode we did in the PCT, you'll learn more about the entire route. So this is kind of the cliff notes for the first 697 miles. So this is the stretch that David would have done.
And he didn't make it all that way. He only obviously made it to Idyllwild.
Yeah, he was like a week or two in.
A couple weeks in.
Yeah, so the PCT begins on the low hill near Campo, elevation 2,915 feet. It's a small town near the Mexican border. It then passes through Lake Morena County Park, tunnels beneath Interstate 8, and climbs through chaparral, scrub oak, and pines to the rim of Laguna Mountains. The trail dips into the Anza Borrego Desert State Park at Scissor Crossing, and then winds through the San Felipe Hills and lesser mountains of the Cleveland National Forest before crossing Highway 74 at 4,900 feet and climbing the backbone of the San Jacinto Mountains.
Jacinto or Jacinto?
Jacinto. I'm gonna put it in the translate.
Put it in the translate.
I'm doing it. I feel like this is that bit on SNL where the Californians where they just like talking about their roads. Like, how'd you get here, Stuart? It's I took the 45 up to like that. What are you doing here?
San Jacinto Mountains.
San Jacinto.
San Jacinto. There you go. So this, I think, is roughly the spot where David was last seen. We'll get into the timeline more, but he was in Idyllwild, which is right near the San Jacinto Mountains.
Yeah, I'm going to probably skip some. This just goes in depth into exactly what it is, and most people, like, I don't know where this stuff is.
Yeah, so
it's around Southern California and goes around lots of places.
Well, then I will jump right in.
Yeah, go to character. And here, we'll say this one thing. Trail slide water is often scarce in the section that he was at, particularly in summer when the temperature ranges the 80s to low hundreds.